Hello YouTube, this is Chesko from STEM APKs. Welcome to another tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to continue where we left off in the last tutorial. As you remember, in the last tutorial, we created this beautiful navigation bar that you can see here. And what we're going to do in this tutorial is going to go from here to this nav bar. So there's a lot to cover in this tutorial. That's why I have to break it into two, not to make these tutorials too long, and because there's a lot to cover. For some of you that are uh, familiar with React hooks, this will be a refresher. But for some of you that don't know how hooks work, this will I hope you learn a lot from it because we're going to be using it all the time. What are hooks? Hooks in this particular case, every time you change the state, for example, in this case, you're clicking outside of the box and it knows that you just clicked outside, right? There, that's one. Also, when you hover over it, it knows that you're hovering over this one and you're not hovering over that one. That's also things to keep in mind. Another thing, when you choose this path and not this path, it knows what path. And that's navigation. That's done through routing and Next.JS. So there's a lot of things going on in that navigation bar, and we're going to discuss some of them. Another thing, you go into these sliders. Right now, it knows that it's in this state, but when you go here, it knows that it is at this state. So when you choose and to do some things, to do some work on it, it knows now that it's on a low threshold. But the moment you click on it, it's at this state. But now you change it to this state, and now it knows. Once I clicked on it, my mouse went down. It's a mouse event. And also when I click on this link here, on this button, it also creates a different change of state. So that's happening every time you create different states. Every time you change that slider, you're creating a different state. That's all done. That magic is done through hooks. And in the React library, it has built-in hooks. As you can see them here, we're going to be using some of them in this tutorial. We're going to be using the useState hook, the useEffect hook, and we're going to be using the useRef. And for this, I think this is a pretty good part of the documentation. It shows what a state is. A state is basically a component's memory. It's almost like it knows what state is at that particular moment, and then you are able to change it to set it, right? So for example, in this case, you're importing the hook, whatever hook that you're using from the React library, and you're here, you tell it what it is, and then you set it to a particular state, right? In this case, it's a value of 0. In this case, you let it know what it is, and then you set it. And you set it to a Boolean, true or false, another state. And then here, that particular state is 0, right? Or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I'll show you what I mean by that. And then you just loop it through these things, and it knows when it basically ran out of indexes, whatever it is. And it's done through here, right? You know that. But the question, the most important thing is this question right here. Is it equal to, not equal to whatever it is? In this case, for example, is hiding. Right now it's showing, right? Because you can see the description. But the moment that I click on it, it changed the state from showing into hiding. So now, when it asks that question again, it says it's not equal or whatever state it is. So in this case, it's hiding. So it's gonna set it to show. So when you hit on it, it shows. But now, when it asks this question again, is it showing? No. Yes, it is showing. So when I click on it, I make it the opposite of it, hiding, and you get the picture. So that's basically how the hooks are going, how it's happening under the hood. It's all about setting them and clicks to change events. You do it through click. In my case here, I'm clicking here or I'm clicking here. It's always a click or clicking here. Always an event happening. So part of this is going on under the hood, and there was something else that I wanted to show you here. Where is it? Actually, let's go into the code. Let's go into here. This is, oh, by the way, and if you see something that you don't have, you might not see these IPython notebooks. You're not gonna have them. I created them. That's just for me to keep me on track for these tutorials, just in case you ask me, where did that come from? That's what that is. So basically, let's go to the Jupyter notebook and let's start importing this into our code, because I just don't want just to copy and paste and you don't know what is happening. So for example, here I'm bringing this link, and this is coming from routing, from linking and navigating from Next.js, and it's just the link. This is just the way Next.js does its routing through directories. Whatever is in that directory, it will know the path. And it's like in the old days when you did websites. It's going back to that. Okay, I kind of like it, to tell you the truth. Here is some examples on how it does the mapping, and this is exactly what we're doing with our code, because we're going through categories, right? So it's got a map through each one of them. So it's got to know the path, and it's got to know where it is, right? So we'll be doing that in the second tutorial. So this is what this path name is. It's coming from Next Navigation as well, just like the link. And it's importing the hooks from the React library. It's like these are the built-in hooks that we just talked about. This is TypeScript creating an interface, so it knows if you give it something that is not true or false, it's gonna let you know about it, and that's what's happening here. Here you're creating the function in the path function, letting it know that there is a dropdown, and then setting the dropdown using the useState hook, just like we just talked about. This is the other hook. It's using the HTML div element, and this is all TypeScript stuff. We'll go more in detail as we progress through the tutorial series. That's the hook doing the use effect hook. Is handling the mouse down events. When I click outside of the box here, this is what's happening. It knows that I'm clicking outside of the box, and the way it knows is through this, through this clicking outside, handle click outside. And how does it know that? It's actually listening for an event of whether the mouse is down or not. And the way, if you really want to know more about mouse down events and handling events and listening to events, this is talks about here on this page. It does a pretty good job Mozilla. It talks about each one and how it works, X, Y. It explains it much better than I would. So just in case you have questions, you can go there and find out. And this is what's happening with this hook. Then we go into the categories. These are the categories. These are the items. And the basically, this is what this is right here. This category is right there. So you can add as many as you want. You can put 10, 15 of them. It doesn't matter because it's going to map through each one of them. Where is it? I just lost it. Oh, wrong one. This one. It's going to map. All you got to do is an array. You create another one and another one and another one. It's just going to go through them. So it's as long as you give it a path, it's going to go to that, and it's going to deal with it. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of the routing of Next.js. In this one, we're doing the constant render the dropdown. This is what's happening when you click here, that icon, how it rotates 180 degrees, how it knows whether it's up or down. This is basically what's going on here. As you can see here, is telling it the icon and is telling it to rotate 180 degrees. This is the magic that is happening right here. What else? Here it's all about CSS tailwind to make the buttons look pretty. That's what's happening there. And here the hover effect, the on click, mapping through each one of the names of the items. Like I said, on the categories, for each one of the categories. In this case, it's only 3, but you can have as many as you want. Like I said, it's just an array. Going back to the next one. This is the nav container that it has all of this stuff right here. All of this stuff. And this is the name, the home link, and each one of those. All of that stuff, this is what is here. It's basically background white. It tells it the size, the margins, the padding. To justify, to leave space in between, so there are not all this spacing right here, and to make it right in the center of the nav bar. This is what's going on here. The items in the center, justify center, flex item centers, the bold, how much bolder margins, margin right, spacing, size of the text, how large, you want it large, small. Stem APKs, this is the name. And so you know, in order to have that dash here and for this to be one line, you have to do this. It's almost like putting the apostrophe. It's the same thing. If not, it will just go stem and then APKs into the next line for this link. And the other one is the same thing we did. We talked about is just going through each one of the categories and doing a map and a key and a value. And that's what's going on in here. But basically, in this tutorial, we're going to we show you the theory behind it. In the next tutorial, we'll put it into effect and we'll start making it look from that into that. And we'll do that in the next tutorial. But if you like this tutorial, please click the like box and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you in the next tutorial. Thank you for watching.